What's up, everyone? Kevin here from Skywatcher. Welcome to another episode of the What's Up Webcast. We do this every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, right here at the Skywatcher USA YouTube channel. We cover everything from what's up in the nighttime sky to equipment to helpful tips and tricks. And, of course, at the end of the month, we talk about someone's specialty in the field of astronomy. If you like what you see here, please go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like on a video. Let us know we're doing a good job. If you have an idea for a future episode, email us at info@skywatchusa.com and title that email What's Up. Hopefully you guys have had a good week. It's Friday once again. Thanks for hanging out with us, and let's get going. If you want to stay up with what's going on at Skywatcher here in North America, head over to skywatchusa.com. Up at the top, you can hit subscribe and save. And you can get on our email list, which basically keeps you up to date with what's going on here at Skywatcher and anything new and all kinds of fun stuff there. So you can always join our email list. We are working on getting the totem target list together to get you guys your patches. April was really kind of a whirlwind with NEAF. It usually is every year. So now that NEAF is over, things have kind of calmed down a bit. We will be getting all those patches that we owe everyone out. So just be patient. We'll get that squared away and get you all set. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about the brightest thing in the nighttime sky. Of course, also our beginning of the month episode, very casual hangout kind of thing. If you've got questions, it's a good episode to just throw out random stuff. It helps eat up some time, and it's fun to talk with you guys about different topics as well. So let's start with the moon. So new moon for May is May 29th, a little late in the month. So that means your dark sky weekend is going to be May 25th and 26th. Although we just had it at the last weekend, was a good time to get out as well. But the official dark weekend of May would be the 25th and the 26th. So if you're going on out, it's galaxy season. So there's all kinds of little fuzzies to look at. Need some serious aperture to go digging out some of those galaxies or a camera. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff to talk about, and we'll get to targets later in the episode there. Now, full moon is actually right around the corner. That's going to be May 14th, which is the flower moon. And the flower moon gets its name from all the flowers that are blooming this time of year for spring. So, okay. So, let's see. Next up is basically the planets. So we're pretty much wrapped up for planet season right now, but we can go over to Stellarium and check out what's going on. If you've been out observing, you'll know that planets are pretty low now as far as the count. So we still have Jupiter hanging out in the sky, although by the end of this month, it's pretty much going to be done. We do have Mars, which is hanging up in Cancer right now, but it is not ideal. You could get out there and take a look at it. It's not a terrible view, but it is rather small. But it's not great right now. You do need like 200 or 300 power to get back a good view of Mars right now, and even then it's a bit questionable. But yeah, we're pretty much done with planet season right now. Although as the year goes on and we return to the fall eventually, then you'll get a good shot at some of the planets and stuff like that. Or you need to get up in the early morning where you can catch Saturn and Venus and some of the other ones that are hanging out. Question, any sense of certainty returning back to the telescope industry? Oh my God, no. I really wish it was more leveled out. Things are really strange right now, and it's not just the telescope industry. Everything is really messed up. The tariffs have really screwed up a lot of stuff. And I'm not going to get down into the political garbage that is in the world right now. But just speaking on fact of what's occurring, the tariffs are really going to do some damage. I'm certain. I'm not speaking on any company behalf. It's just a grand look at things. So until things level out, things are going to be a little turbulent and strange. All I can say at the moment, I'm trying to do this personally as well. A lot of us in this hobby are pretty well off when it comes to gear. Even if it's something simple, like someone in the chat says they just got a Virtuoso 150 Dob. Great scope. That's a better telescope than I started with years ago. I started with a little 50 millimeter achromat refractor. So I put a lot of thought into this recently, and I've been thinking about it a lot just with everything going on. So I'll just be real with you guys. Right now is probably a good time to just take inventory of what you have. And I think a lot of our problem is there's so many new and shiny things on the market, and that's part of my job, is to show off new and shiny things and get you excited and buy it, and that pays our bills. And we appreciate that, and we appreciate the support. But at the same time, you want to make sure you're doing okay right now. So what I would recommend to people is, and it's really hard when you're based in kind of a consumerist mentality, maybe take a step back, take a breath, and enjoy the stuff you have, and just get out and start observing or imaging and get back to the real root of why we do this hobby and why we love this hobby. It's not about the gear. The gear is fun. But it's really just about going out and being amazed by the night sky and the universe and observing it at its finest. And just take a second and kind of reacclimate or recalibrate your head and focus on why you love the hobby and just enjoy the stuff that you've got. That's what I'm trying to do. I do this professionally. I have more gear than I will ever have time for, but there's some about just going out in your backyard or going out with your friends and just using your stuff and just enjoying the things that you have already and being grateful for that. And hopefully here soon, things will level out. I'm certain prices are going to change, but hopefully they're just more leveled. But right now things are really turbulent, so we'll see. But yeah, we will see. Let's see. Okay, I thought there were some comments that I could elaborate on, but nothing in there. So yeah, right now, telescope industry, along with very many other industries, are chaotic. And I'm going to say this very quickly because I know someone watching this or someone hanging out in the chat right now is going to be like, well, why don't you just build it in the United States? Here's why. To build a factory of any kind, of any production type, takes millions of dollars to do. Right now, the economy is too turbulent for any reasonable investor to want to invest that kind of money into starting a business right now. It's a mess. Let's say you did do it. You built a factory here in the US. Great. You built the factory. Now you need people to work in the factory. Many people don't want to work in a factory for that kind of wage. Let's say you were able to get that multi-million-dollar factory up and running, which is probably about 2 to 5 years on a quick course. So you're already a few years in, you're a few $1 million into making it. You got to find people to do it with expertise to understand whatever the product is. Then you have, and this is the kicker that shuts a lot of stuff down. You need to get a hold of components to build your product. So if it's a telescope, you need glass, you need metal, you need screws, you need all that kind of stuff. All of that has to be compiled from somewhere. I don't care if you build it here in this country or another country. Building a telescope is a global thing. Glass is from here, electronics from here, all that compiles into the product that you get. Even the companies that build telescopes here in the United States source globally. So everyone's affected no matter what. So it's not that easy to do that. And it's certainly not something that just flips a switch overnight and poof, it's back. Right? This is a very big process. So sorry, didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole too much. Trying very hard to navigate the ice field and not get into any particular side. That's just the reality of it. So yeah. And if you were to build a product here, let's just use this. Since we're already in here, we've opened the lid now. Let's say you want a 6-inch apochromatic aporefractor. You see what an Esprit goes for, 6, 7,000, 8,000 US. Look how much in astrophysics. A little bit more, a lot more. So wages. Anyway, let's talk, get back onto it. So right now, planet season is pretty much done. Where if you want to get up in the early morning, you can get up and look at Saturn, you can look at Venus. But for the evening right now, we're pretty much wrapped up on planets until the fall. So if you want to go out, you can still get Jupiter in the early evening. Mars is up, but it's not ideal. But yeah, so we're kind of done with planets. The sun right now is crazy. We are at solar maximum. I believe some of you who've ordered heliostars should have them already. I believe we started to ship some of those. But the sun is very active right now because we are in solar maximum. It hasn't been super crazy lately, but there is a monster sunspot up on the sun right now. Let me bring some of this up. There we go. So here's a white light image. This sunspot, 4079, is enormous. You can see it in solar glasses. I did a little projection the other day just to try it out. You could see it on a projection. You can see from this image just how big compared to Earth it is. It's very, very large sunspot. So, and if we go over to hydrogen, if you go over to GONG, G-O-N-G space H alpha, you can see what's going on in the hydrogen alpha wavelengths. And right now, you can see there's some nice activity here, nice filament there, nice filament there, little good-sized prom. There's been a very large prominence the last few days, but it seems to have rotated. But yeah, the sun is very active, especially if you have hydrogen alpha solar filters. And as I say every time, if you're gonna go observe the sun, I don't care what type of method you're doing, but please make sure that you're using a safe, certified solar filter, whether it's white light, calcium, hydrogen alpha, whatever. Please make sure you're doing your due diligence and getting a safe piece of equipment to observe the sun. But it's very dynamic right now. So it'd be cool. We should just do another episode on the Heliostar now that it's out. And maybe we could like live stream an image. But yeah, so the sun is very active right now. Hydrogen alpha is going to be your most dynamic filter, where you can see the prominences and filaments and all the fun stuff. But white light is fun as well, especially when you have these big sunspots. So there's all calcium would be really neat with this big sunspot. I don't have a calcium filter right now, but something to definitely get out and take a look at. There's some questions piling up here. Is it this year that Saturn's rings would literally look like a line, basically viewing it head on? Yes, it's already done that. It was really close to the sun when it did that. I want to say that happened in March-ish, somewhere in there, early April, March, somewhere in there. because it is now moved into the morning sky. It's visible in the morning. But yes, the rings are basically edge on right now to catch it. I've seen some images of it, which is pretty interesting, but I haven't gotten up and actually looked at it to check it out. But yes, Saturn's rings are nearly edge on. They're starting to open up a little bit as it's now done its thing, but it's going to take a while before they go back to being really impressive. So if you're getting up right now and you're looking, they are basically edge on right now. On average, how long will your inventory last before prices rise? Also, I've seen reports that ZWO and others are halting shipments. Any truth? Yeah, I'm sure you'll see prices go up. There's nothing anybody can do about that. I have heard the same reports that ZWO, QHY, some other companies, just from social media posts, no more than you guys haven't seen, are halting shipments. We have to be very careful navigating right now, especially because as shipments come in, and right now the shipments are slowly stopping. There's not a lot in the port right now, which is concerning on other levels. But yes, prices will go up. I'm sure other people have already done it, but I don't handle pricing on our side, so I don't really want to go too much into the weeds of that or speak for anybody. But yes, you can expect stuff to go up. To what level is another thing. But everything's changing daily, so it's really hard to pinpoint what's happening. That's the big issue. There's so many shifts. It's hard to just get a flat, okay, this is what it is. Let's see. Is it true that a 6-inch mirror is likely to be more optically corrected than an 8-inch, since QA on the 6-inch can get pretty tight? Any imperfections and aberrations can easily be adjusted due to smaller size. I actually, it's a mixed bag, really. For us, our manufacturing team has been making parabolic mirrors for decades. They are really good at it. Theoretically, a 6-inch mirror would be easier to produce. Again, a lot of it comes down to quality of the glass, how you know how to handle it, and the big thing is going to be the F ratio. How steep is that curve? So there's a lot of things that go into that. Most beginners who are starting to make their own mirrors, which I really wouldn't be surprised if amateur telescope making comes back with everything that's going on right now, that usually you'd start with a 6 to 8-inch mirror, somewhere in there. Going larger, of course, is more difficult because you have more, it gets more critical, and you have to do that over a larger surface area to keep that surface. So I'm sure there are challenges both ways, because going smaller isn't always easier either. So I'd love to make mirrors. I just haven't had time to learn the art form. Is comets in this to talk about? Yes, there's always comets we're talking about. We're coming up on that. So, okay, let's see. So meteor showers. We do have a meteor shower. It's happening right now. It's the Eta Aquariids. Peak is May 5th and May 6th, so Monday and Tuesday of next week. You're getting about 10 to 30 meters per hour in dark skies before dawn. Meteor showers are best seen after midnight, where Earth basically rotates to where our portion, or wherever the observer is, rotates to where it's leading in to the meteor shower, if that makes sense. So there's a stream, and as Earth rotates, you come into contact where you're basically the windshield of Earth at that point. So usually that's after midnight, as things are starting to rise for the observer. It's best viewed between midnight just before dawn for any meteor shower. However, the moon plays a big factor in that, because the moon adds a lot of extra light into the sky. So to see those really faint little meteors, little few, flying by, most of those are about the size of a grain of sand, by the way. heating up the atmosphere or heating up as they come through the atmosphere. But you'll probably get some of the brighter ones, especially if you're out viewing. You'll probably catch some. But because of the moon phase, which is about 64% illumination right now during the peak days, 5th and 6th, there's a lot of extra light in the sky. So we won't get to see as many meteors per hour as you would on a moonless night, but you'll probably still get some. So something to check out. Comets, as someone was asking. So comets are a very fun thing to actually go after. There's been Comet Swan in the early evening. I haven't even tried to view right now. But yes, there are comets. Where is it? There it is. My favorite website to go to is cometchasing.skyhound.com. This tells you everything you'd ever want to know about the current situation of comets. The big one right now has been C2025 F2 Swan. This one appears to have fallen apart and disintegrated sometime in late April, so that one seems to be off. There's always something to look at, but this website's pretty good to show what's going on. To my knowledge right now, there's nothing that's major as far as visibility goes, particularly here in the northern hemisphere. Our buddies in the southern hemisphere like Australia, New Zealand, they generally get a better view of the comets. But right now there's not a lot going on as far as comets that are visible. This one right here, C21 G2 Atlas, is currently just about 14th magnitude, and it is rather high from what the notes are saying here, especially as we move further into May. But you're going to need a pretty decent sized telescope to catch it, or a camera. But yeah, right now there's not a lot in the world of comets to discuss. Yeah. There's just not a lot going on, which is very typical of comets. Then out of the blue, you'll get some crazy thing from the outer solar system come in, puts on an amazing show like we got last year, and then it'll go quiet for a few years. Then another one will come around, and yeah, so you never know with comets. I believe David Levy called comets to be very similar to cats. You just really don't know what they're going to do. So, and having 3 cats, I can stand by the fact that I don't know what they think half the time. Okay, let's see. When is Milky Way season? Is it this month by chance? Milky Way season does technically start in May. Just depends on how late you want to stay up. So here's the night sky right now, at least roughly where I'm at. You can see the Milky Way becomes pretty present around 11 o'clock right now. And then as we get into the early or the late hours of the night, the Milky Way becomes dominant in the sky. So yeah, May is really the start of Milky Way season, particularly as we get into late May and the moon gets out of the sky. But June is really, especially late June, that's really the ideal month for Milky Way season, because by late June, right when the sun goes down, like a month from now, like 9 o'clock, once it's finally dark, the Milky Way is naked eye visible from the dark skies. So that's when it's ideal. And then by the time you get to midnight, it's practically overhead right now. So if you're going to any of the major star parties that take place in June, I know I'm going to Grand Canyon Star Party, which is 3rd week of June this year. That's going to be awesome. I love the later June star parties because the Milky Way is just dominant very early in the evening. So yes, we are in Milky Way season. May is the starting point for that. I guess late April if you want to stay up late. But for convenience, late May is the real starting point where the Milky Way becomes visible on a more convenient time, I should say. And then by the time you get to like July and August, right when the sun goes down, you have that Milky Way pillar just straight overhead from the dark skies, if you can get out to those. So yes, it is Milky Way season. Get out to some dark skies, get away from light pollution. Please just unplug the frickin' electronics and go be a person and take in nature. And yeah, you'll have a lot better time in your life. All right, deep sky. Oh, there's a question. Is the Esprit 70 EDX going to be available worldwide? Yes. To my knowledge, it will be available worldwide. If you're not familiar with what's going on, I'm sure you've paid attention that Skywatcher refractors have been disappearing from distributor price lists and stuff like that. Why? Probably because there's stuff in the works. I don't want to go into details completely yet. If you do a little bit of digging, you can start to see the writing on the wall. Some of you apparently have. There is a new Esprit 70, and the new line is called an EDX. There's some upgrades to it. The 70 is a brand new model, which I don't have it in arm's reach. It's locked away right now. It's very nice. The 70 is very nice. I've been testing it for about a year now. There's more coming. I just can't tell you all about it quite yet. Few months, especially if things would just calm down. We'd be more than happy to kind of showcase that. But yes, there is an Esprit 70 EDX. There's some more EDXs as well. It's not just a 70. But we'll definitely get into the details. I don't want to jump the gun because I don't have all the information yet. I have no idea what pricing is going to be like, especially right now. But there's not just one EDX. So, but yeah, if you want to know more, some of the distributors globally have, I believe, the 70. Oh my God. The infamous scope under the blanket thing is never going to stop. No, that wasn't the Esprit 70. It was bigger, and it's not even part of the Esprit series. But no, that was not the scope under the blanket. The scope under the blanket is still big secret stuff. And at this point, I don't know if it's even ever going to come out. I have no idea. That scope got moved to the back burner of development right now because there's other stuff that we need to move forward with. But no, the mystery blanket scope, no one's even come close to guessing what that thing is. Although I'm really excited to hopefully one day show it, but because it's really kind of fun. But yeah, no, that wasn't the Esprit 70. So, but yes, rephrasing it again, there is an Esprit 70. It's on its way. Details will come later. There's a new line called the Esprit EDX. Some upgrades. There's more than one. That's not the only line that's coming out, but you'll see hopefully in the near future. Was hoping to show some of it at NEAF. Didn't work out. Kind of glad it didn't work out because I couldn't have even told you what pricing is. But yeah, so without going too crazy on it, not going to go much further than that. All right, deep sky targets. It's galaxy season right now. A lot of faint little fuzzies. Galaxy season is because right now, in the summer months, we are looking down the edge. Like if you have a CD, if anybody even knows what a CD is anymore. A pancake. There we go. Everyone knows what pancakes are. During the summer, we are looking... Get my camera. During the summer, we are looking down the edge of our galaxy through the arms into the core across the galaxy. That's what we're seeing in the summer months in the northern hemisphere. That's why we see the core and the arms and all that fun stuff. In the wintertime, Earth has spun and we're looking out away from the core, but we're still looking out along the arms. In the fall, we're kind of in a weird transition period, but it's not too crazy. There's still some good targets up. But from our positioning here on Earth during the spring, we're looking out off the plane of the Milky Way, out into intergalactic space. And that is why it's galaxy season, because we're not looking along the plane of the Milky Way anymore. We're looking out far past the Milky Way arms, out into this abundance of space and galaxies. So that's why it's galaxy season. One of my favorite galaxies right now is M106. Very easy galaxy to photograph. I've had a lot of friends of mine photograph this. There's a lot of cool things, and there's a ton of galaxies in this particular region. It's in Canis Venactices, roughly towards the end of the Big Dipper. Darker skies for observing it are ideal. But M106 is really kind of an interesting galaxy. Number one, I really like the spiral arms of it. Two, it actually has a secondary set of spiral arms that radiate out from the core. These are red spiral arms. And in this image, it's really hard to see. But if you have the ability to shoot with a monochrome camera, you'll be able to see and shoot in hydrogen alpha. Just do some short 1-minute exposures, maybe longer depending on where you're at. But you'll notice these little arms that spike up. Actually, I've done this. I don't know why I don't just show you. So let me find it because we've got some time. Imaging, remote, M106. So what happens when you put a big hard drive on your computer? It's got to open up. There we go. All right. So here is just a stack of hydrogen alpha M106. So you can see there's some really cool star forming regions like here, these little pearl-like things that are in there. But right here, this right here and one right here, these little faint like arm-looking things, those are material that's being whipped up by the black hole in the center of the galaxy. So M106 actually has 2 sets of spiral arms, and there's some other ones kind of over here as well. But there's the large outer spirals that you would expect. And then there's actually the black hole spiral material out from the core of the galaxy. So it's really cool because you can see that there's a black hole actively working in this galaxy. And if you're able to catch that detail, it does help pop out more, especially if you have a monochrome camera. I haven't tried it visually, but I would have to expect you're going to need a big telescope, dark skies. It might be good to have the night vision. I might have to try that out just to see how that works. But yes, so that's M106 and Canis Venactices. It's a good one to go after if you're looking for a target to image. It's got a lot going on. Just upgrade the Quattros already. How would you upgrade it? I would love to know. Actually, I would love to know what you would like on a upgraded Quattro. I can't say one way or another if there is something in the works. But if you could upgrade a Quattro, what would you like to see on it? And then I can pass that along to the engineering team. So. All right, moving on. M51. M51 is like a staple this time of year. It's a beautiful face-on galaxy that actually was interacting with its companion galaxy. The interaction, from my reading, I believe has stated that it's already done passing each other, so now they're pulling apart. But this is M51. 31 million light years away. Dark skies are ideal for this, as with any galaxy, honestly. This gets washed out very quickly in urban skies. So with lots of light pollution, it's just not a great target to go after. Cameras pick it up without any problem. Narrowband is really nice to have on this because it has a lot of H2 regions, little red regions scattered through there. So some hydrogen alpha will work really well. So there's that. I've been messing around on M51 lately just because it's a fun one. Some of you a couple weeks ago while we were talking about our NEAF episode might remember that I am beta testing that Smart Eye eyepiece, which is actually right here. This guy. So it's a 533 camera in there, and it's got a screen and all that. So I've been beta testing that on different scopes. If you've come to some of my events lately, you might have even been able to look through it. Here's a test frame from it. Now, the refractor I was using on this has some weird optical stuff going on. So these little soft, puffy stars are not the eyepiece. It's the scope that I'm working with that needs some work. I did have to stretch this image. So it's noisier and brighter than it actually looks. It looks a lot better in person. But this is from like a Bortle 4 sky, 5-inch refractor, about 1,000 millimeter focal length, live stacking 10 seconds. That's the view through the Smart Eye. And the nice thing is the Smart Eye saves the images, so I can take this out. But like I said, the image looks way better in person, and I stretch this a little harder. The background is a lot darker in person, and it's actually a very nice view in person. This has a lot of noise and junk inside of it that I should have worked with. But that's the view through Smart Eye on a 5-inch refractor. It's pretty sweet, and it's really helpful on galaxy stuff when you're doing outreach, because many of us who have done outreach realize that this time of year, it's really hard. Even if you have a big Dob like my 28-inch, it doesn't matter. Galaxies still look like a fuzzy if it's not in a good sight, and it's just not exciting. So the Smart Eye is an amazing tool to put on a telescope and really be able to show people what a galaxy looks like. So pretty cool. Another one I've been messing with, this, I think this was like 50 minutes worth of exposure. This is a C-Star S50. I just threw it out in the backyard. I wanted to try the new EQ mode that they came out with, which is really cool actually. And it works really nice. If you're trying to use one of our equatorial wedges, for a Star Adventure, that's what I used. You need to remove our knob on the saddle and go with a lower profile screw. Also, if you are getting one of our EQ bases to use with a C-Star, our EQ base is designed for our products, and the knobs are there to work with the Star Adventurer, not C-Stars. So if you buy it and you call us and you're like, well, it doesn't really work with the knob that's on there, it's too big. Yeah, because when it was designed, there was not a C-Star in existence or other stuff. So please don't call us and complain that the wedge doesn't work out of the box for a C-Star, because it wasn't made for C-Star. With a very quick jog down to Ace Hardware, you can get a low profile hex screw, replace that, and boom, it's C-Star ready to go. No big deal. So we've gotten some complaints about it, and it gets a little annoying because don't complain to us about it when the product wasn't made for it. So, but if you're willing to just go get a little 50-cent screw, it works great. Obviously, the C-Stars, as a good friend of mine put it, is kind of the microwave dinner of astrophotography. And I know a lot of people are like, it's not a real thing. Of course it's a real thing. It's a telescope. It's a cute little all-in-one telescope where you can chuck it outside and have a good time with it. Not much thought put into place. Is it a big full-frame 6-inch triplet with all the fancy filters? No. But it's a fun thing to just chuck outside and go explore the nighttime sky with. And the new EQ modes are pretty cool because now you can do those 30-second exposures. You don't have field rotation, and it's very easy to set up. I'm really looking forward to trying the Origin EQ mode, but I'll have to get a wedge for that guy too. Wow, there's a lot of questions. Any plans to bring Skywatcher Explorer 150 PL to the market? No. The long focal length Newtonians just don't sell. They don't. Like, I'm sorry, they just don't. I wish I knew why. People are afraid of collimation, I guess. Or people are vampires and they see their reflection and go, poof, I don't know. But Newtonians just don't do well on the market. And astrophotography is really where it's at. So it's all about speed. Have you tried the eyepiece on your big Dob? Yes, I did. Do I have a picture of it somewhere? Here we go. This is okay, so when you have Smart Eye starts stacking images in a monochrome view. It's a color sensor, but the color comes on later as it saturates more. My Dob is a 28-inch f3.3, and with the coma corrector installed, it's about f3.7, so like 2600 millimeters. This is the Whirlpool about 3 or 4 or 5 second shots stacked. I do have an EQ platform that the Dob sits on. EQ platforms are great for Dobs, but they're not like dead on accurate tracking. You need to really spend some time getting it dialed in for it to track right. Usually I just pop it, throw it north, get it close, and it's good enough to get me through like 10 or 15 people before I need to nudge it, which is way better than being up the ladder every other person. But this is tracking. It basically fills up the field of view. Now, I do have one of the new Star Arizona. Where is it? Oh, is it back here? Might be back here. It's around here somewhere. I'm going to test out the Star Arizona Nexus, which is their coma correcting. Where the heck did I put it? It's around here. So I got too much crap laying around. The Nexus coma corrector, they have a new version where the little flange threads off the top and it's more insertable into the focuser. So I'm going to try that out. That'll make a huge difference because that would drop my 28-inch from f3.3 to f2.4, which is crazy fast, and give me a wider field of view. Ideally, I've tested the Smart Eye on a handful of scopes at different focal lengths. Ideally, like our Newtonians, our Quattro Newtonians, like the 6-inch, the Quattro 150 or Quattro 200 is right where you want to be. That 400 to 600, maybe 800 millimeter focal length is really nice. And speed, you want speed. It's a camera. So you really, really want to, my volume went down. Can you guys hear me okay? It sounds okay on my end. Yeah, the Quattro Newtonians have been really nice. Small refractors work. If you're doing a lot of galaxies, about 1,000 millimeter, 900 to 1,000 millimeter focal length is really, really nice. Let's see. When doing outreach events, how many targets do you typically go through in a night? At my outreach events, there's usually me, and I have 3 other friends that generally come out and bring up their scopes and volunteer as well. Maybe more if people are available. We try to make sure that everyone's on a different target, and on a big event, we'll probably have each scope do 2 targets, so that's about 8. On a very casual night where there's not many people and we can just bounce around to random stuff, maybe half a dozen or more I'll hit. It really just depends on how big the group is because we want to make sure everybody gets a view of their stuff. Is there or will there be spot diagrams for the newest sprees? I don't know. I would like to release them, but it's not my call. C-Star comment. C-Star works great on a Star Adventure Pro with the newer level added as a mini extension. Okay, cool. I'll have to look at that. Do you have a favorite challenge object for light polluted skies? Depends on the scope and depends on the time of year. Not really. During outreach events and like bright locations, I usually just stick with the fan favorites. For the summer, it's normally like M13, the Ring Nebula, the Dumbbell Nebula, stuff like that. Lagoon, if we're in a decent site. Trifid's a little difficult to get. For fall, usually it's like Andromeda Galaxy, some kind of globular cluster. Winter, of course, it's Orion, Pleiades, stuff like that. Spring is really challenging. Like we're in spring right now. Doing events this time of year can be difficult because a lot of it's just the fuzzy stuff. That's where using like technology aids like night vision or the new smart eye that's coming out or live stacking with smart scopes can be very helpful when you throw technology at it so the galaxies can pop out more. And then, back to the summer. Good question, though. At what F ratio do you recommend getting a coma corrector? I would say anything F4 or faster. Coma, for me, becomes noticeable and obnoxious. F4.5, I'm not as bothered by it. Maybe because I've been using coma correctors a lot more lately because my Dob needs a coma corrector. Some people say F5 is the cutoff. It really is just personal taste. For me, it's like anything faster than F4.5. But when you get to F4, coma becomes obnoxious to me. But it just depends on who you are, what you're willing to work with. It's like chromatic aberration. Some people are not bothered as much by it. Okay, so that's M51. NGC 4449, also in Canis Magnatis, very odd galaxy, about 13 million light years away. You're going to need dark skies for this, and if you're imaging it, longer focal length helps, but some nice hydrogen alpha would really help pop some of that star-forming region in there. So NGC 4449 is that galaxy. Here's another smart eye. This one's more balanced. I restretched this one so the balance wasn't crazy. This is more what you expect to see inside of a smart eye. This is NGC 4565, the Needle Galaxy and Coma Berenices, one of my favorites because it looks like a big UFO. If you have the skies and the scope to do it. Not crazy difficult to do, but you definitely want to be in somewhat darker skies. And I'd say an 8-inch, if not bigger. It's really impressive in big scopes. Imaging, not terribly difficult, but again, darker skies. You could do this from light polluted locations because it's so condensed and there's not a lot of streamer detail coming off of it. Gradients from light pollution are not as big of a problem. So something to consider, but it's a really cool edge on galaxy and it's way bigger than people think. But this is a smart eye image. This is very much truer to what you'd see in smart eye. And this is a 5-inch refractor with 1,000 millimeter focal length. That worked really well with the 533 chip. Is there a way to buy CQ350 heavy duty field tripod separately? Yes. You'll need to talk to your dealer, but yes, they should be for sale. M64, the Black Eye Galaxy, also in Coma Berenices, 17 million light years away. This one's really cool because you can actually see it. It looks like a black eye, so that's pretty neat. It's a fun one to go off of. I'm going to kind of peruse these really quickly because there's some questions there that I want to get to. M82, Ursa Major, 12 million light years away. You can see this in almost any sky. It doesn't look like that, but darker skies definitely help. And if you're imaging it, add some hydrogen alpha to really, pop out the red detail in there. Of course, M81, which is right next to M82. Here's my shot of both of them from a Bortle 2 sky, really dark skies. You can see all the fluffy stuff floating around in there. Another fun one to go after, big spiral galaxy, and you can usually get M81 and M82 in the same view. Totem targets, again, we will get all the names raked up so we can get everything back up and running. April's always crazy because of Neef. It was Hickson 44, so I'll go through and check out that and get everybody's name together. The totem target for May is NGC 4449, so it should be a good challenge target. So go out and check that out. But that's it, pretty much it for May night skies for 2025. If you like what you see here, please go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like on a video. If you have an idea, email us at info@skywatchusa.com and title it What's Up. Next week, we're going to talk about building a travel rig using small telescopes and mounts and what you can do to build something that you can easily take with you anywhere, because we are in Milky Way season, so a lot of us are traveling to darker skies. Maybe you're limited on space, so building a travel rig can be a very helpful thing. So we'll go over that next week, but that's pretty much it for this week on May night skies. Let me jump into questions here. People want better rotatable focuser, curved spider, dew shield. Someone mentioned carbon fiber. Why do you guys want carbon fiber? I mean, I know why carbon fiber is beneficial. Carbon fiber tubes tend to be a lot more expensive, and they offer very little as far as weight reduction in the scope sizes that we're talking about. But it adds a lot of cost to the scope. I think carbon fiber looks cool, and it does have an advantage, or it does have its advantages, but I find the negatives outweigh the positives on this level of scope, and you end up paying a lot more, and you're really not getting much in weight reduction when it comes to that. So, but the other stuff I can certainly pass along. Do you use aperture mask for your refractors? Occasionally. Not really. Now that I think about it, I have an aperture mask for the 7-inch refractor that drops it to 6, which is primarily used when I'm doing solar observing, if I am, because the Herschel wedge I use is limited to 6-inch and smaller. On refractors, I don't really find, especially if you're using apochromatic refractors, I don't really find the need to stop down the scope. I do have an aperture mask for the big Dob, which is off axis and drops it to a 10-inch f10, which is very, very helpful, because with that amount of aperture, seeing doesn't support you as much as you'd want. So that can be problematic. But on the refractors, I find I don't need to stop them down that much, because, you know, usually aperture is about 6-inch and smaller. The seeing doesn't affect it as much as a larger, like, reflecting telescope. EQ8 is now 6 years old or so. Any news for newer, larger capacity mounts like that? There's always stuff in the works, but I have literally nothing to show at this point. So we'll see. There's some cool stuff in the works, but nothing anytime soon. We'll see what even comes to light at this point. Any chance the SynScan hand controller might get an update? I would love to have an update on the SynScan hand controller. There's a lot of really advanced features being put into the app. SynScan Pro has some really high level stuff that's being added to it. Some of you have probably already seen, like, the plate solving that's being added in there. I actually need to play with that and try it out. Maybe I'll do that this week. Things are quiet down. But I would like to see the SynScan hand controllers get a really nice update, but I don't have any control over that. I can just let the engineers and decide what they're going to do. I do agree that it needs to have some of the more advanced features. I'd love to have sync in a hand controller, would be great. But right now, nothing that I'm aware of, but yeah. So, let's see. What star parties is Skywatcher planning to attend this summer? Things are pretty quiet right now. I, as well as our marketing guy, Jared, will be at Grand Canyon Star Party next month. If you're going to be up there, we'll be floating around. We won't be up there in like this official Skywatcher capacity, but we'll be hanging out and being out there like all the other astronomers. So you're welcome to come by and say hi. I'll have my big Dob out there, but we're just there because we want to have a good time. Some of our team, Alex and Jared, will be at the Build Expo in Manhattan in a couple weeks from now, actually. So they'll be out there. If you're going to be in Manhattan, you're going to the Build Expo. Jared and Alex will be there. And then Grand Canyon is, well, maybe Build's in June. Anyway, it's in there somewhere. But Build Expo. But right now, not a lot of star parties on the docket right now. So. And then we do have Starfest in Canada in August, which we plan to be up there because we love to see our friends in Canada. Starfest is such an awesome event, too. They do so much good stuff up there, and the amount of effort that team does is phenomenal. If you have not been to Starfest, you're missing out. It's probably one of my favorite events at this point. The hospitality is amazing. Everyone is very gracious and kind. The weather's beautiful. The place is beautiful. It's just maybe because I'm a desert dweller that it's just like, wow, this is a nice change. It's just a fun event in general. So we are planning to be up at Starfest in August. On the wave mount, the hand controller takes about 10 seconds to start up due to waiting for the GPS. Yeah, the GPS can take a little bit of time on the hand controller. Let's see. I think that, I think that's everything. I don't see anything else floating around there. All right. If you guys like what you see here, please go ahead and subscribe, leave a like on a video. Thanks for all the fun conversations. It's always cool to hang out with you guys. And yeah, we'll be good to go next week. Next week, we're talking about building a travel rig. So we'll have some cool ideas for that. Other than that, I hope you have a really great weekend. Get out and do some viewing. Enjoy the stuff that you've got. And, do we need to download all the files for Sin Matrix? Some of the files are like 60 gigabytes. That is, the plate solving capability there. So yeah, you might have to get all the databases for it to register. It takes up some memory, but I need to play with it too. I'll know more soon. So I just haven't had time or the skies. So how many people are working the webcast with you? 3. There's myself. I'm the face. There's Jared. And then there's Jeff. And Jeff and Jared usually monitor the chat, keep an eye on things. They send me your questions so I don't have to peruse the chat as much. And then I am the face. But like I have said before, this doesn't happen. It's not just me. It's a whole team. Skywatcher is a whole team of people. Product development, the engineers there, our team here, Alex and tech support, Mark doing our repairs, our whole shipping crew. Like at NEEF, I really appreciate everyone who comes up and they're like, hey, Kevin, thanks for all the stuff that you do, blah, 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 blah. I really appreciate all the kind words, but all of this from the webcast to Skywatcher in general is a massive team effort. So while I am the face, it is a massive team effort, and we can't do this without everyone being an important piece of the puzzle to making it all happen. So, and then of course you guys. So it's always fun to hang out with you guys on Friday. It's fun to just talk shop and hang out. But yeah, good times. So, all right, everyone, it's the end of the episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next Friday. Get out and do some observing. Have a good time. Go get ready for Milky Way season. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Take care, clear skies, and have a good one. See ya.